Now, with all these delisting fears that were imposed or being imposed in most of the Chinese stocks, including NIO, it's a stock which so many analysts still believe that it's a buy, or they believe that it is one of the stocks which is just set to do very well. I mean, already you know that in Wall Street right now, NIO currently has a price target of over $40 per stock, which is a pure 171% from where NIO is currently trading at. I mean, NIO right now in Wall Street currently has a strong buy, with 14 out of 16 analysts saying that buy this stock, with only 2 analysts saying that hold this stock. There's no analyst in Wall Street who's currently saying sell this stock, irregardless of the delisting fears, irregardless of the delisting issues, which I believe is something that must make you to also remain bullish onto this NIO stock. Ignore the short-term headwinds that we are seeing on this NIO stock. Now, before we go any further with this video, please note that this video is just an entertainment video and you should not take it as a professional financial advice video. Now, I would really appreciate and like it if you can just hit that likes button if you do enjoy, of course, this content that I'll be giving you about this NIO stock. Now, as I've said, regardless of the short-term headwinds, which this week this stock or this NIO stock was heavily impacted by the delisting fears of saying that NIO was added to the provisional list of those companies to be delisted. This is a stock that Wall Street is still remaining bullish on, which is something like I'm always saying that it should definitely motivate you to stay long onto this NIO stock, because one thing, of course, those big financial institutions or these big institutions know way more than us when it comes to this NIO stock. They know lots of information in relation to this NIO stock, which is why when they are bullish, I don't think it surprises me to see some of the retail investors selling their stock, whereas the big guns, the big financial institutions are remaining bullish on a stock. So this getting to know that Wall Street, regardless of this delisting fears, news rumoring around, regardless of the supply chain constraints, they remain bullish onto this NIO stock. It is one of the things that is going to make me to also remain bullish on, to remain long. And of course, I'm not saying that I don't do due diligence, I depend on them, but I also do some research about this stock. I also do or go and read about this NIO stock, which is the exact same thing. I also encourage you to do your own due diligence and make sure that you go also and dig some NIO news and make sure that you're comfortable when you're investing into this stock, because when other people or this helps you when it comes to the noises that you will hear when say for instance this delisting fears saying that NIO was part of the provisional was on the provisional list this week. A lot of retail investors, or some of the retail investors, I saw them selling their NIO stock, saying that they are done with this stock. But if you know the fundamentals, if you know the news, if you have done your own due diligence, then you don't panic like myself. When people are panicking, or when people were selling this NIO stock during the week due to the delisting fear or being due to NIO being on that provisional list, I was loading the boat, and which is why I'm happy today, because my average purchase share price on NIO right now is below $28.50, which is something that if NIO continues to be here, there's no doubt about that, I'm going to continue loading the boat, because this is the stock that I personally believe that it can, or it is going to disrupt this fast growing EV industry. You know that NIO is one of the premium companies that sell these premium electric cars, and one of the good things, of course, is that these EV cars that NIO sells are not only liked in China but are also liked outside of China. Now NIO, you will remember that they just recently started delivering their first sedan called the ET7, which they started delivering around the 28th of March. And like I said in one of my previous videos, I'm really excited about the sales that I'm seeing from this ET7. And of course, because if you notice, when they started, I can't remember the exact figure, but I think the deliveries were around just over 300. And then recently on their April deliveries, we saw that regardless of supply chains, they managed to deliver over 600 of these ET7 vehicles, which is something that must just show you that as the months unfold, we are going to see NIO continue delivering more and more of the deliveries from this ET7 sedan. And the good thing is that in September, or at the end of September or around September, NIO will be starting to deliver the ET5, or their second mid sedan called the ET5. And the good thing why that is so great is number one, its pre-orders has surpassed all of NIO's pre-orders, including the ET7. So all the NIO's previous models pre-orders, including the ET7, these ET5's pre-orders surpassed those, which is something that has to be taken as a very good thing, to say that this might be that vehicle that for the next probably 2 years it will be selling like cupcakes in NIO, which is something that is going to generate more revenues. And of course, with production going to be dealt with or being dealt with NIO right now by, of course, upgrading their Jack NIO factory, which will after the first half of this year produce around 300,000 with double shifts, and with the NIO Park starting with production of that 85 model I was telling you about around September. It is something that must just show you that this is a company that will do very well. And by the way, most of you already know that the production capacity of NIO Park is 1 million EVs annually. Now, to get to see that NIO production wise, they are also getting ready to deliver massive deliveries. These low trading prices must just be an opportunity for you to probably load the boat onto this NIO stock. If you are panicking, or when you are seeing other investors or retail investors probably panicking and say that NIO will be delisted, I've already told you a couple of times, also in 2 of the previous videos I released yesterday on this channel, to say that NIO is not going anywhere. NIO is going to continue to be listed in the New York Stock Exchange, and those that are buying at these low numbers are definitely going to get the good rewards of the massive returns when both the US and China announced that these Chinese stocks, or most of the Chinese stocks, won't be delisted, including NIO. And on that day, my prediction already I've given you, to say that we might even see these Chinese stocks, including NIO, jumping or surging in terms of share price by over 30%, which might be, or which is something that, like I always say, it must encourage you not to panic, especially throughout these times. But when other retail investors, or when you see some of the retail investors panicking, you ought to be loading the boat onto this NIO stock, because this is a stock which will do very well. I mean, just yesterday, one of my videos which I did, we read that the US regulators just landed or are in China and are in quarantine before they start with the audit talks, which is something that must just show you that there is going to be some wonderful news in the near term. There is going to be wonderful news in the near future. If that list that you saw of saying that NIO is going to be delisted was final, what is the reason then for the Chinese regulators to be in China? I don't think that if it was finalized or concluded that we were going to hear that the regulators or the US regulators are in China. This is something that they are still going to find a solid ground. They are still going to find good solutions for these Chinese stocks not to delist, because like I always say, delisting of these Chinese stocks will seriously harm the US economy. This is one of the things that I think some of the people maybe tend to forget to think. I mean, look at how many US companies are operating in China and making some serious money. This is some of the things that they can easily affect heavily the US economy if they don't find, or they don't come into a conclusion or find a solid ground that will continue make these US companies to list in the New York, or these Chinese companies to list in the New York Stock Exchange. Otherwise, with all that, guys, I just thought I should just give you this quick update just to summarize some of the things that happened during the week and what analysts are doing, or what are the sentiments around analysts right now looking at this delisting fears. Otherwise, that's all from me, and I wish you nothing but the best in your stock market investing journey. Like I always say, if you enjoy this video, please do make sure that you hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss the good content we produce on this channel. Otherwise, that's all from me, and I wish you nothing but the best in your stock market investing journey, and God bless you all.